Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I am once again live. Listen, I'll let you guys come in. When you guys come in, hit the like button. Um, I just got out the shower and I've been thinking, man, and I've been prepped to do this particular live video concerning Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, I've been thinking about Joseph and his history, and we're gonna look at and review Joseph Parker. Okay, look at his accomplishments, his losses. We're gonna go and do the whole 9 yards. Okay, a total review of Joseph Parker. And Joseph's been around a long time. You know, Joseph Parker is too nice as well. They take advantage of him. Um, let's start at the beginning. James Jameson, Sugar Joseph Parker is the heavyweight boogeyman. Okay, Mama Lou, hello to you. Counterpunch. Joseph Parker, not bad boxer and great man. The daddy. Okay. See, you changed your name, Tyson Fury. Oscar Henao. Yo, Big Kurt, how are you? Is there some electric? Hmm. Um, yeah, he changed his name. He changed his account name to the daddy. Joseph Parker is too nice as well to take advantage of him. Thomas Versey in the building. Alex, counterpunch to you. Yo, Big Kurt, how are you? Are there any electric disturbance? Nah, no electric disturbance here. We're good. We're good. If you guys can hear me fine, I can hear you guys fine. Mama Lou, yeah, I'm hunting Luca. He keeps blocking me. Usyk is the boogeyman. I don't know. I don't think it can be the boogeyman and everything at the same time. I think, the boogeyman of the division is the person that's hunting the other person that we haven't yet seen to get the fights made yet. Kurt, do you think this era is weak? No, I don't. I don't think this era is weak. In fact, I think this era has a lot of different types of styles, which makes this era very interesting and very competitive. I don't think this is a weak era at all. And I think people are thinking that because some fighters can have an off night. Every fighter, every single fighter out there is going to have a flaw. Nobody's perfect. I want you to understand that. Nobody's perfect. So if you think that everyone that walks into the ring should be 100% solid and should not be able to get hit or, can't be hurt, you're delusional yourself and you expect too much out of people, honestly. So, no, you're not going to have a perfect fighter. Some fighters, every so often, are perfect. And then here's the catch to being a very good, perfect fighter or an all time great fighter. If you're an all time great fighter, chances are you more than likely won't be respected when you are that good because it's only a limited time. It's like a promo. That's the catch. It's only a limited time only. That goes for everyone. That goes for Usyk. Well, Usyk still remains to be seen, but eventually Father Time will come knocking at your door and show you that, hey, you were no longer where you used to be, so therefore you can't perform like you used to perform. Therefore, the people that you were better than before, you're not. And they can beat you in a competitive match because you're not as on a competitive level as you were because Father Time has slowed you down, slowed your weak reflexes down, got made you older. Wear and tear is inevitable. Okay, that's what it is. Um, the only saying I'm only saying that when he comes from cruiserweight. I said if he goes into heavyweight, it's going to be a problem, and it's facts. Kurt, you just got 2 more subscriptions. Cool. Avatar Dillian, counterpunch to you. That's what I'm talking about, man. I'm trying to get 100,000 over here. Let's pour in this sucker. Boxing should have one champion, one belt, one only, where the champion should be forced to fight the top ranked challenger and defend the title twice a year. I do agree with that, Pete. I think that if anything, though, if anything at all, we have like with Usyk, for example. Usyk should be in a situation where there should be no voluntaries for Usyk until he defeats every mandatory. There should be a mandatory at least twice a year or 3 times a year. If fighters fought more than they used to, because some fighters fight more when they're coming up because they need that resume padded. You know what I mean? They're getting their name out there, so they're fighting every 2 or 3 months. But as they get older and as the money starts rolling in, they can afford to only fight twice a year. Like Canelo Alvarez did it, Floyd Mayweather did it, Manny Pacquiao did it. You know, a lot of these fighters, you know, Anthony Joshua used to do that, fight twice a year, a voluntary mandatory. But then, I think when you are the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, you don't have time for voluntaries. Why would you need to take a voluntary when you have mandatories? Those are two different words. And I think what people need to do is understand the definitions of these words. Mandatory means something you have to do. Voluntary means something that you choose to do. But if you're the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world, why would you then have to take any voluntaries? Because you got a full plate, because you got every belt, and every belt has a number one, and you should be fighting every number one. Number one from the WBC, number one from the WBA, number one from the IBF, number one from the WBO. That's how it should be. Period. So P, I do agree. So we shouldn't even have a such thing as voluntaries when it comes to an undisputed champion. I don't buy the whole he's done enough. Has Usyk done enough to fulfill his career? Yes. So don't get me wrong. I know people go, wait a minute, wait, he's done enough. He's done enough to retire. He's done enough to retire from the sport of boxing and can walk away. And would anybody be mad or upset? No, because I understand something about Alexander Usyk. Alexander Usyk, the people that he's fought, he was older than. Every guy that he fought, which makes it more impressive, he's older than them. He's not this young dude that it's not like he's 27 and he's the undisputed champion of the world. Because you could always say, well, what if Daniel Dubois? Let's switch Daniel Dubois' age with Usyk's age for a minute. And Daniel Dubois was that guy that was the IBF champion, which he was 38. And Usyk was the unified champion and he was 27. Okay. And Daniel then fights Usyk at 38 and loses. What could people say? People could say, oh, well, if Daniel was 27 and Usyk was 38, this would be different. But we can't say that because Alexander Usyk was 38 years of age when he knocked out or drop out Daniel Dubois. Either way you look at it. If you thought Daniel quit because he got hit too hard and he didn't want to smoke, he still got his ass whooped, didn't he? We can all agree on that. Daniel got his ass whooped. Quit or no quit. Right? So there you go. Which fighter has done the best against Usyk thus far, in your opinion? Wow, River Rat 47. That's a good question. And I think that's what we should be looking at as fight fans, lovers of the pugilistic sport. I think we should be looking at that fact. I think we should be looking at the fact that who has done more of a challenge and made more of a challenge. Well, let's talk about Derek Chisora for a minute. Tyson Fury for a minute. Tony Bellew did well for 6 rounds, sure, until he ran out of gas. It was nothing for him to do. And it's crazy. He had nothing left. He had gave and shown Usyk all of his tricks, Tony Bellew, and that was a pretty tough fight because he was catching Bellew with his style. But understand, Bellew was a fighter that was his size. I keep telling you guys that. If Alexander Usyk, here's my prediction about Usyk for just a second. I know this is about Joseph Falk, but Alexander Usyk, if he ever gets beat, it will be by somebody his size. It won't be by one of these big 6'6", 6'7", 6'9" fighters. It's not going to be against those dudes because he's already figured them out. Stylistically, he will beat them with speed, size, and style because they're bigger. Those big guys can't run that locomotive engine like he can. He got a different engine than them. So they're just trying to hang on. So it is what it is, right? I think they will strip him with the WBO. Derek Chisora just came in for a fight, and I think he did a good job fighting the fight that he fought versus the fight that he felt he needed to fight to compete with Usyk. He just fought the way he fought, and he did a good job. That's Derek Chisora. Michael Hunter did a decent job until, again, he ran out of gas. He ran out of gas at the ass end of that fight, and then he paid for it. I honestly think that fight should have been stopped because Michael Hunter took way too many shots for my liking. You know what I mean? And I'm not even a guy to quickly throw in the towel or stop a fight because I know what it means to the fighter. But no, I think Michael Hunter did a good job. But again, Michael Hunter was a guy, Myers-Bradis. Those were good fights, and those were his top 4 hardest fights. Tyson Fury, Derek Chisora, Tony Bellew, and Myers-Bradis. Michael Hunter, you could throw him in there. Clarissa Shields said that she is the new Muhammad Ali. Kurt, your opinion. There is no new Muhammad Ali. There is no new Muhammad Ali. And I think that's why she's so caught up on wanting to fight Layla, because Layla is royalty. That's why she wants it. She wants the whole attention. She wants attention. Look, Clarissa, you can tell how she overdoes things. You can tell how she's brash. You can tell how she's outspoken to the point where it's obnoxious because she craves attention. That's Clarissa's problem, which she should in essence, but I think she just came in a poor era. So ask me a question about women's boxing. I think Clarissa Shields is in a poor era. And then she's too big, honestly, to be competing with guys like Alicia Baumgardner and Katie Taylor. She's just too big. You know what I mean? She's a big girl. And she needs someone to show her and convince her that she's the best. She can name herself the GOAT. She can claim dominance over everybody. She's never been defeated. But then yet there's more, isn't it? There's always more with her. It's always, hey, I'm the best fighter and I can do this. And, I'm the new Muhammad Ali. No, you're not the new Muhammad Ali. You're not doing any revolutionary things. You're not. You're just a good fighter in an era that is weak amongst the division of women. So, no. Ain't it crazy Hulk Hogan died? Now that's nostalgia. Yeah. She is definitely the female GOAT. Thomas Versey, rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Yeah, Hulk Hogan's gone, bro. Hulk Hogan's gone. Ozzy Osbourne, Malcolm Jamal Warner, George Foreman. It's a lot of people. They're getting out of here, man. They're getting out of here, and we have to remember that tomorrow's not promised. So hey, respect the now. That's why we're here. That's why live streams are important, because we are here right now. See, these may not seem as important until something happens. You know what I mean? All I can see is Malcolm Jamal Warner, and the last time that he made a live stream, it was very positive and inspirational and all that, which is great. But it hits different now, doesn't it? So it is. No one cares about that racist Hogan. Hulk Hogan had him. I think his wife was dealing with a black guy or his daughter or something like that. I remember back in the time, I paid it no mind, just like I paid it no mind of Mel Gibson. You know, a lot of times you have to understand that what people say in their house is their own business. You know, I think it was a jackass move for what he said. I think he lets a lot of things out, and I think people do that people don't know about. But Hulk Hogan, though, I think him doing that and people knowing that, was it meant for them to know that? Was it any of anybody's business how what he said to his kid? I don't think so. You know, so I look at the situation and oh, he's a racist. Maybe he does. You know, maybe he thinks that way. You know, or maybe he thought that way more when his daughter came home with a black guy. A lot of people don't like that. You know what I mean? The daddy would have knocked out Fury in the rematch. Glad would have knocked out Fury in the rematch, but he ducked and chose cocaine. Yeah. In 2007, Hogan found out his daughter only likes blacks, and he let everyone know how racist he really is. I mean, I guess he thought that he didn't want his daughter dating black guys. Hulk Hogan's a white guy. You know, I mean, he ain't the only guy that thinks that way. I just wondered though, you change and you flip shit around. If he was a black guy and didn't want his black daughter with white guys, a lot of people wouldn't say shit with it. I think about shit like that. Nobody would really care. You know what I'm saying? I don't want my daughter was a purple. I don't want purple. I'm late to the chat. What is the truth about JP? Shot on Christmas. Thank you for the redirection. We're going to look at Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker. First of all, I respect Joseph Parker. I like Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker is one of those guys. I mean, he's right there in that kind of, he's damn near an OG, but he's a little bit too young. You know what I mean? He just turned 33. So he's 33 years of age. You know, what movie should I watch tonight? Superman or Fantastic Four? Watch them both. Do what me and my kid used to do. We used to go see one and then go watch another. We'll go cinema hopping, right? But back to Joseph Parker. We're all travelers here. Read your holy books. Only devotion to God goes with the soul. That's true. That is absolutely true. Facts. Joseph Parker. Boom. Joseph Parker. Born January 9th, 1992, age 33. Okay. He has, a big family. I think he has 4 daughters, 5 daughters, something like that. You have a guy, he's had the WBO. He was a WBO champion until he lost it to Anthony Joshua. And in a fight that I feel at the time it could have been ran back because of the way it was refereed. And I tell people the way referees referee can dictate how a fight is fought, right? Now he's the WBO interim heavyweight since 2024. Previously has held the WBO from 2016 to 18. At the regional level, he has multiple heavyweight championships, including the WBO, Oriental, African, and Oceania titles, as well as the a PA, PABA, OPBF, and the New Zealand titles. As an amateur, he represented New Zealand at the 2010 Commonwealth Games in super heavyweight division and narrowly missed qualification for the 2012 Summer Olympics. So he would have probably been in there with Joshua, but he just missed it. Okay. 39 wins, 39 fights, 36 wins, 24 by KO, and 3 losses. Okay. And we look at his record and you see the plethora of fighters that he's fought. Okay. And he's fought a lot of guys, a lot of people. And, you look at his record, he beat Carlos Takam. Um, I'm just going down the list, but it pretty much started at Carlos Takam, Alexander Dimitrenko. I think that's the guy that he fought Charles Martin and hurt his leg, right? And let's see. I think that was him. I want to say that was him, right? No, that wasn't him. That wasn't Dimitrenko. He lost to Eddie Chambers, and no, he didn't fight. Yeah, he didn't fight. He lost to Tony Yoka. Then Andy Ruiz with a majority decision, and a lot of people thought that could have went either way. Okay, with Andy, and looking back at that, we learned about Andy and his style. He's a good combination fighter, short arms, explosive puncher, but his footwork, his inability to cut off the ring, that's the problem. His weight is the problem. Razvan Kajanu, Huey Fury. He lost to Anthony Joshua, then Dillian White. So he had back-to-back losses in 2018, which, needless to say, was his worst year. Alexander Flores, he beat him. Alex Leopai, which that was more like a rival fight, right? Fellow Kiwi. Sal Dale Winters, Junior Fa, another rival fight. Derek Chisora. Now, I think Derek beat Joseph Parker the first fight. Then he fought him again and definitely beat him. I think Derek Chisora from May of 2001 to December of 2001 kind of lost a step, to be fair, right? Then he waits to December of 2021 to September. That was his longest layoff, and he fought Joe Joyce and lost to Joe Joyce. He was knocked out in the 11th round. And then, of course, he knocked out Jack Massey. Then Ike Ibeabuchi, rival fight. Simon Keane, okay. Then he beat Deontay Wilder. Okay, so he fought 3 times in 2003. And then, and close out the year beating Deontay Wilder, shelving him for a while, then taking on the Big Bang, the Wall of China, Zhang, right? And he was dropped twice, had a hell of a fight with that. Then now he just defeated Mark McCauley on short notice because Daniel Dubois decided to pull out. And winner takes all in a high-stake fight with Alexander Usyk, and we know what happened, okay? A week ago. That's already a week ago now. And we've been rolling. So shout out to you guys for supporting me. I appreciate it. Now back to Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker, that was close. It was close. Kurt, your channel's cracking sound. No one is beating the steroid up version of Usyk with power. He should retire. What? Yeah, nah, dude. You see that's where I don't think he's on steroids. Wilder was finished. Zhang was life and death fight and gassed out. McCauley, we already know the circumstances. I'm not fully sold on Parker yet. Well, here's the raw truth about Parker. Okay? This is the raw truth about Parker. Whether you think he is one of the best or not, this is his opportunity. Joseph Parker deserves the opportunity that other fighters have been given. The question you ask yourself, what is special about Daniel Dubois versus Joseph Parker? What did Daniel do that Joseph didn't do to deserve a fight with Usyk? See, he'd already got his fight with Usyk. He already had his opportunity to become a unified champion. The WBA, the WBO, and the IBF. He fought Alexander Usyk. He quit from a jab. Okay. So that same year, Joseph Parker had fought 3 times and beat Deontay Wilder. Then he beat Zhang. At the time he beat Zhang, Zhang was beating everybody, right? Zhang's loss up until Ike Ibeabuchi, that was the only loss that he's really had for a while. So saying all that to say this, people, Joseph Parker, regardless of what you think about him, deserves his shot. He deserves it. Now, the raw truth about Joseph Parker is, though, the reason why I don't think that people believe in him and his marketability is because he is too nice. He's just too nice. He's too soft of a fighter verbally, okay? He's not an asshole. He's not an outspoken person, which you don't have to be an asshole to be an outspoken person, but people will perceive you to be that outspoken person anyway. But the reality is Joseph Parker is just too nice. That's the raw truth of and with Joseph Parker. He doesn't talk enough shit. He makes music videos and wants to express his charismatic love for music by calling out fighters, which is impressive to me and others, but I don't think people caught and realize and respect what he's doing or what he's did. Nice guys finish last. That's the problem. Okay, the assholes, the brash people, those are the guys that get fights that they don't deserve. You know the difference? And I'm going to tell you the difference between Dubois and Parker. Easy. What did Dubois do when Usyk beat Fury in the rematch? He jumped his ass in the ring. A day admitted that, hey, I gave him the mic. And Daniel Dubois came out there and be like, this is my time, Usyk. Give me my revenge, Usyk. I want my fight. I want revenge. Right? He said that while Usyk was trying to explain something personal, that he was kind of, dumping off of his conscience and stuff like that. And he was sharing with the public and with the crowd. And Daniel Dubois brought his ass in there and cut all that shit out. That record scratched. And he said what he needed to say. I want my revenge, Usyk. I want my revenge. Fight me next, Usyk. I want my I want you. I want you. Right? And the new. Right? Then you got that, you got the opportunity. What did Joseph do? Oh, good fight, man. Good fight. Good fight, great fight, man. Me and you next. No. And then, it was almost like a kind of a casual conversation. You can't have a casual conversation with something that you really want. You have to find a way to say what you want to say. You got to break out. I'm telling my age now. You got to do some twisted, you got to do some you got to do some Kareem jewelry. Break out. Yeah, you got to find a way and say what you want to say. Oh, that steak was good. And then I ate them both. I didn't eat them both at the same time. I ate one and I ate some eggs, took that to the face, went out, went to work, came back, ate that with some big jumbo shrimp, corn on the cob. Yeah, it was good. That was good. Yeah, you have to talk more. You have to show more. You have to show that you want it more. That's what you got to do. You have to show that you want the opportunity. You have to show that That is your end game. You know what I mean? That nice guy shit that Joseph Parker does, he's only being him. I get it. I understand. You know, you are talking like Teddy Atlas. Same voice. I am? Okay, cool. Parker needs to get pissed off and then stop overlooking him. Yeah, he does. Your woman is lovely lady. You're a many talents, Kurt. Thank y'all. In defense, JP did go talk to Usyk and told him, I'm next. Nah, that ain't the same. He told him, I'm next. But he told him like in confidence. He told him like, yeah, I'm next. Me and you. No. You have to do a duplicate, equal or more, equal or greater. You have to say, you know what, dude, I'm next. Give me the opportunity. You know, Daniel ducked me. Don't you do what Daniel did. Look what happened to Daniel. Daniel got his opportunity. Usyk won't fight Parker. He only does fading British guys. Damn. Parallel Sons #1. Did you guys just see this? Look at this shit. Usyk won't fight Parker. He only does fading British guys. Now people will jump down this guy's throat right here now because you know it's still fresh. He just knocked out Danny Dubois. Give it 3-4 months, and we ain't heard nothing from Usyk. Give it that long, because see, people are going to want to know, and I think that's the WBO. And here's the reality. If Usyk doesn't want to fight Parker, fine. He needs to be stripped. Then Parker can be a champion. And I don't think he's a respecter person. I think what he'll do, he'll probably gladly give up that WBO. But keep in mind, people, that Usyk has never defended all the belts at one time. He has to do that to be reigning and defending undisputed champion. You got to call it a buck. If Alexander Usyk doesn't do that, he never did what Lennox Lewis did. Lennox Lewis fought with all the belts. All the belts that were available at the time, Lennox Lewis was defending, reigning of those belts and those titles. If Usyk doesn't do that and he keeps doing this, hey, all right, I'll give you this belt and I'll come back, get it later shit, it's not going to be the same, because you don't go into the next fight with the risk of anybody from something. You don't have everything. You're not coming in the ring with everything. You're coming with a belt that's away somewhere else that somebody else is. You can't do it. You can't have it that way. You have to take your ass in there with every belt that you've just won. And then really the mandatories are a good thing, because they give these fighters an easy opportunity to not pick and choose who the hell they want to fight next. They don't need that. Why would you need to pick and choose a fight when the fight is already there? See, why fight for all these belts if you're not willing to fight the mandatories of the belts? If a sanctioning body demands a fight with you, and it's logical, it's reasonable, that's what you need to do. This Tyson Fury fight comes out of the blue like that. I don't understand it at all. It seems to me like a bunch of fucking bullshit. It does. Like when Tyson Fury comes out, he goes, he gets drunk, he crawls out of a bar, he gets, you know what I mean? He does anything he wants to do. It's like, well, why are y'all doing this for Tyson Fury just because you think he'll sell more than Joseph? See, I think an era must die. You know what I mean? I think an era must die. What I mean by that is Deontay Wilder, people are looking at him dead is dead. AJ, pretty much the same. They're talking about AJ fighting Jake Paul. Nobody cares about that shit, really. The views, guys. You guys know what you like and don't like. You guys know what you're into. You guys know what interests you. It's the views, right? I think my channel is big enough to see and gauge who likes what. If you guys look at a channel, a video that I've posted, and you don't like it, you're going to tell, because you're not going to look at this shit. Versus something you do, it's going to be fucking skyrocketed. That's how it goes, especially after a fight. Fury wants 200 million. I don't even know what he wants the money for. I mean, he has enough money. And I'm so sick of these people getting like the shit reminds me of something that happens in America, to be fair. You know, the rich get richer and the poor stay poor. Middle class stay where they're at. And it seems like that to me. You know what I mean? It seems to me that you keep regurgitating these old fighters and Tyson Fury's retiring. Like, I think if you retire, I think you need to stay retired. And I think it should be a rule that you cannot come back. If you said, I'm retired. So guess what? You got to stay out of the ring for at least 2 years. I think that would stop all that bullshit that Tyson does. I'm leaving the sport. I'm gone. I'm leaving. All right, I'm leaving. I'm leaving now. Okay, I'm not leaving. The hell? Kurt, you got Michael Hunter versus Joseph Parker. Who do I have? Michael Hunter versus Joseph Parker. That's a good fight because, see, here's the problem with that. Michael Hunter and Joseph Parker have comparable skills. But then, when has Michael Hunter fought last? That's the problem. Michael Hunter has not fought like since when? When was his last fight? And he's 37. Bro, I did not know Michael Hunter was 37. I could have sworn he was 35. This dude is 37 years of age. The daddy AJ doesn't want the Fury fight. You know what? This is the sad shit. I think I bought a Michael Hunter fight. It was on the Don King card, right? I bought that shit and I couldn't watch it. Something like that, right? Christian Laurando Garcia. He fought on December 8th, 2024. That was his last fight, bro. He's been out of the ring 7 months. I don't know Joseph Parker personally, but I do know Michael Hunter. I would root for Michael Hunter, but I don't think he would beat Joseph Parker right now. Why? Inactivity and maybe age. If he's able to, and I think Michael does take care of his body, which is a very, very important factor in a fight between him and Joseph Parker. But Cabello versus Joshua, now the winner. Well, the only thing Cabello needs to worry about is getting chinned. Because one thing we know and what we learned from the Zhang fight, and I like Zhang. I think Zhang is a true, proper challenge for anybody. I don't think he's quite a gatekeeper. Maybe you could call him that just to be an asshole or cynical, but you know, you could call him that. But I think Zhang like shows you things about fighters because he hits very hard. Ask Joe Joyce, ask Joseph Parker, ask Deontay Wilder. You know what I mean? He hits hard as hell. And what I notice about Ike Ibeabuchi, right? To only be subjective, Cabello can be hurt. He can be hurt. So it's not like he's this indestructible, tree-chopping bastard. No, he can be hurt too. And then that's why I respect the style. And it's crazy, you got guys like Jose Chavez comes in, will Terrence Crawford run? And because he only views one way of fighting. And it's not that I'm against Mexican style, that's bullshit. Because if anyone should be adopted, should be Ike Caballo. Ike Caballo could be an honorary Mexican boxer because of the way he commits to the body. He comes in, he comes out, he comes in, he comes out. He has decent defense, but he does commit to the body. And committing to the body, throwing shots to the body, you're at risk of getting caught upstairs and countered, especially the way Ike Caballo goes to the body, the way he commits to the body. So if he does fight AJ will want to counter him upstairs, and he's a taller guy, which is no problem. I get Cabello, look at him. He's beating Zhang, he's beating Arslan Mark Madoff, and those were big dudes, and they were bigger than AJ, right? So, you know, I think AJ would be smart enough to stay away from Ike Cabello, to be fair. But if they did fight, Cabello could do what he did to every other fighter, except, he has to be careful because I think Caballo gets him at this point. However, I think AJ could catch him and hurt him. And if he could catch him and hurt him, I don't think AJ's worse for wear and tear like Zhang. See, AJ will catch you and AJ will try to finish you off. You know what I mean? Because one thing he should have learned from Ike Ibeabuchi fighting Zhang was the minute Zhang knocked Caballo down and gave him that knockdown, put him to the canvas, Ike got his ass right back up to get some get back. He did not stop his entourage of punches. He kept beating Zhang. Oh, you knocked me down. Okay, commence ass kicking. And that's exactly what he did. That's what he did to the body. And made him fall. Parker, next champ. I think people need to understand that Parker has been a champion. He's no different to me. Because I look at a lot of guys, because this is what you had in 2018, which was very, very, very interesting. You look at 2017 and 18. You had Parker, you had Martin, you had Joshua, you had Wilder. You had 4 champions. 4. Right? And Klitschko was there too. He was still around. And everybody wanted to fight Klitschko. And that's what I tried to tell all the Wilder fans. I'm like, listen, you Wilder fans, you guys are pointing the finger in the wrong direction. You need to be pointing it back at his management because they didn't want him to fight Vlad. Vlad was still the man because to Tyson Fury, as far as he was concerned, he showed up, showed out, and got out. That wasn't really impressive. You fought in a snooze fest. It was a boring ass fight. You fought Vlad, boxed Vlad. You know Vlad is not an exciting fighter, and you made it unexciting your damn self. You didn't go for the knockout, but you knew I'm going to box this guy the way I know to beat him because I might get chinned. Because he knows Dr. Steelhammer don't play about power. He may not be exciting, but if Vladimir hits you, if those Klitschkos catch you, they're going to hurt you and put you down. They're just not exciting fighters, to be fair. Just keeping it real. But you had all those guys there, and Parker was one of those guys. And see, Parker was the WBO. His challenge was what? Andy Ruiz. People say, who the hell is fat ass Andy Ruiz? Well, Andy showed us in 2019 who the hell his fat ass was, didn't he? By knocking out AJ, beating the shit out of him. AJ went to Madison Square Garden and never came back. That's a fact. That's a fact. He never came back. He never came back. And I always thought, like, Eddie, bro, you have to check that box. Eddie needs to check that box. I mean, now people really don't care because, AJ got destroyed by Usyk, by Dubois, and then Dubois got destroyed by Usyk. So it's AJ's just another fighter now. You know what I mean? He's still popular and people still sought after him and shit, but he's not talent-wise anyone that just is really credible at this point. DeVille, what's the deal? Bars. Joseph Parker's the deal. IBF coming for the heavyweight belt. No, they shouldn't be coming for the heavyweight belt this fast. Because, they just satisfied it. He just dropped it last year. And, well, to be fair, you're right, because Danny Dubois had a voluntary against Parker. So his voluntary defense was scratched due to Usyk. So, yeah, the IBF may be knocking on someone's door pretty soon. And the IBF, we know that they don't play. I guess everyone should be like the IBF. Danny D should rematch Miller. That's a good fight. That's a really good fight. I think in the future, Caballo versus Moses, it's crazy animal fight. Alex. Absolutely. Moses Atoma versus Ike Caballo should be one of those fights. I'm not really tripping on Ike Cabello. Why? Because Ike Cabello, he's what? He's a year younger than Joseph, but he has time. And I think what's going to happen with Ike Cabello, he's going to reign amongst the new blood of fighters. He's going to have to start beating these new guys. When these old guys fade off, when people finally get tired of Tyson Fury's ass and AJ's made enough money and Wilder's completely done, and then Miller, he decides, hopefully he don't get popped again. And because if he gets popped again, he's done, but to keep it a buck though, those guys are leaving. Parker wants his shot. I think he should get it, but he's just too nice. I think he's too nice. I think Joseph Parker has been a champion. He's been there. He's done that. The WBO. I don't know if that's what he wants to do. I question a lot of things, though, about boxing. Like, Efe Ajagba and Joseph Parker should fight for the #1 IBF. It shouldn't be Derek Chisora at all. And I'm not hating on Derek. I like Derek. I think Derek's a OG. But I don't think they did the right thing, the IBF did. I don't think they did what they're supposed to do. I think what they supposed to have done was the minute McCauley decided to fight Parker, I think they should have allowed Efe Ajagba to still win the IBF #1 position. Okay, and he was not able to, which was not fair to him. He had nothing to do with the negotiations and the decision of Mark McCauley fighting Joseph Parker. And he got knocked out because no one knew that Mark McCauley was going to show up that out of shape. No one knew that, bro. Ajagba was sparring Ike Ibeabuchi last week. Ike looked terrible. Did he? Joe, where did I say that? Okay. Joe, if you have that footage, I would like to see it. But you know what? Here's my thing. Everybody's talking about this Ike Ibeabuchi thing. I talked to Ike Ibeabuchi. I've heard his. We've conversed. I've talked to him on a personal level. I think Ike is an older man now, and I think the legacy of Ike Ibeabuchi is a guy that once was but never was, and I think people should be comfortable with that because him coming into the sport at 51, 52 years of age, I don't think that credits his true essence of his overall skill. You can't turn back the hands of time like that. You can't do it. And the problem with Ike, he was just, a prisoner that was pretty much thrown away. They threw away Ike Ibeabuchi. Ike Ibeabuchi's been in jail for 20 years. And the problem was he wasn't he wasn't like Bernard Hopkins. He wasn't one of those examples. He was a guy that he did what most prisoners do. They get in there and they may lift weights for a while, but then eventually they get huge. They eat all this bad fucking processed food that the prisoners eat. You know what I mean? And he looked like my boy Theo Crane. That's who he looked like. Theo Crane is an actor. He was in a lot of good. I was in his first movie, right? Needless to say. Good friend of mine, but he looks like Theo Crane. Theo Crane's like 6'9", 300 pounds, or at least he was, because I know he lost a lot of weight, but he looked like Theo Crane. Theo Crane was a big dude. You know what I mean? So he had lost all that chisel, all that muscular structure, all that. He didn't have that no more. Now, could he come back and he worked, what I saw of him, he looked good, but then he looked like a person that was once very good, but no longer good to a point that you could compete with people today. I don't want to see Ike Ibeabuchi in the ring at 50. I don't want to see a 50-year-old Ike Ibeabuchi. I wanted to see a 27-year-old Ike Ibeabuchi. Right? I don't want to see a 58-year-old Ike Ibeabuchi. I don't want to see him looking terrible because he's old. You know, I don't want to see him because I know uh, he lacks a lot of materials. You know, he lacks a lot of things that he needs. He lacks essentials. That man needs other things, right? So I don't want to see him coming in. I don't want to see him back in the ring. I don't. You know what I mean? He was one of the best talents ever. The potential was probably through the roof. He could have probably beat anyone in the heavyweight. And that's Lewis and Tyson. He probably could have beat them all. But the problem was mentally he was not there. That's just the facts. He was not there. Who's Ike Ibeabuchi? What the fuck? Look him up, bro. Ike Ibeabuchi. 20 and 0, 15 KOs. One of the best heavyweights that we had at a certain era of time when the heavyweight division was booming. And you had Tyson, you had Tua, you had Bird, you had Holyfield, you had Bo, you had Moore. You had everyone there. Ike was right there. He was right in that lineup of some of the best heavyweights that we had to offer, especially streaming and oozing out of the 90s. Kicking the door down in the early 2000s. That's what that was. That's who Ike Ibeabuchi is. Wardley is a future world champion. Wardley is another name that I think that, see, everybody's trying to go for the top. Everybody wants that one opportunity. People are not trying to create opportunities. They just want that one shot. They feel all justified that, hey, this is my ticket and I'm going to go this route and I'm waiting. I'm not going to fight that guy because I may come up short. So, I think people have learned from other people. They've learned from Joe Joyce. They learned not to take all those hard ass challenges because it may not go the way you think it's going to go. You may go in there and get your ass whooped. Like my uncle says, mollywopped. You may go get mollywopped, right? Ike and Tua had the chins Lyle and Foreman didn't have. Foreman had a pretty good chin, to be fair, bro. Ike gave Tua hell. Yeah, that was a good fight, man. And then Tua basically fought a guy that beat him. I mean, it was a good fight because it was very competitive, but Ike just was not going anywhere. Tua was that guy that was accustomed to losing every round, but at some point, getting that shot off that changed the fight, that won him the fight. That left hook, that left uppercut, that was a shot that changed things. And Ike Ibeabuchi, the fight, that shit wasn't the same. Ike Ibeabuchi did what he needed to do, so that's what that was. Ike didn't give him that opportunity because there weren't any. He hit Ike hit him harder. That type of shit. Ike stopped Bird in 4. All right, be careful. Wardley can beat Pulev, Hrgovic, Wallin, but that's it. I don't even know if he can beat Hrgovic. Now, he may, because Hrgovic has not officially been, well, he got dropped by Zhang. I don't think we give Hrgovic enough credit for having a decent chin. He has a better chin than Joshua. You know what I'm saying? He has a better chin than Joshua. Anyone remember Joel Scott makes Ike's story look tame? No, I don't. Your nephew, let me tell you. Let me tell you something. That boy Dubois got mollywop throwing no look haymakers like a club fighter. Ike never dropped. Yeah. Moses in the future, we just need to see if he can take a punch. If his chin is solid, there isn't anyone beating him with his skill, speed, footwork, and power. I mean, that's how it sounds, but we're going to learn a lot real soon. Moses and Apataya will be the future. Moses Apataya, Wardley will still be there. So Moses Apataya, Wardley, Caballero. And I think what's going to happen, Caballero is going to be one of those guys that ends up getting one of those belts. Nice guys finish last, but I think if Caballero keeps performing and winning, two things are going to happen. He's either going to get a title shot or he will be avoided. And the crazy thing is they're going to pull some Michael Hunter shit on him. You know, Michael Hunter only has one loss and they're treating this dude like he has 8. You know what I mean? They're avoiding him because they know that dude, 37 years of age. Damn. This man was born July 10th, 1988, so he just turned 37. Is Uncle C a real person? I thought that was you with an edit. Yeah, he's a real person. That's my uncle. That's my mom's brother, one of her baby brothers. Crazy dude, Uncle C. Uncle C, like, he's a guy that, he's one of those guys that didn't have driver's license, but outran cops. He's like one of those Dukes of Hazzard cats. This guy right here, he was a guy that had he had Louisiana's record for the most DWSs, driving under suspensions. Yeah. He had 168, I think, or 67. He'll tell you too. Hergovic is Eddie Hearn's fighter. Eddie Hearn doesn't have any good heavyweights left. Oh yeah, I mean, he got rid of all of them. He got rid of Usyk. He got rid of a lot of fighters, which I know he's kind of kicking himself in the ass for now. Moses, Caballero, Parker, Apataya, Jololoff, Ajagba, McCauley, Anderson. I think it's not a bad era. No, it's not. Did Uncle C do time? Not prison time. He did a lot of. He went to jail a lot. I mean, because each time they pretty much called him, they took him to jail because he had suspended license. But like some overnighters, I think he stayed in, like, I don't know the longest, maybe about a week or so. You know what I mean? And then there was a story behind that because somebody said, I remember him telling me, Uncle C, he was saying that, like, he got there and somebody said fresh fish. And he was like, hell no, ain't no fresh fish. So he fought 3 dudes. You know, I know somebody caught him in the lip, but he caught 3 dudes. He said, I fought 3 of them. I grabbed one, I kicked one in the stomach, and I grabbed one and I mauled him, and the other one came behind me and hit me, and I grabbed him. You know, it got broke up, but he was fighting 3 dudes at one time. My uncle can fight, bro. He could fight. He used to box too. That's on my mom's side. And he was like, the dude's built like, kind of like Tommy Hearns, because he's thin, but he's tall. But he's tall like me, but he's thin, but he's quick, so you got to be careful with that. The only comeback Shane Mosley making is his hairline. Man, leave Shane alone, man. Luca Moore, you are always wrong. Remember, the internet saves everything. You've never been right about a fight in the past 2 years. You've been spouting nonsense from your mom's house in the middle. Jololoff can fight. He's still under radar. I mean, when are we going to see these guys? Where are they at? They need to be on some type of broadcasting that we can all see. Not this fight that happens in somewhere that we don't know, it's not televised. I'm like kind of tired of seeing that, honestly. I'd rather see Usyk versus Wilder. Usyk versus Wilder than Usyk versus the Tongue. Well, that makes sense too. I kind of understand that, Quan Big Guns, because they're from the same era. See, Wilder will be 40 and Usyk's 38. That era of fighters, Usyk, Joshua, the only difference was in 18. Usyk wasn't there yet. He was still at cruiserweight, getting all the belts at cruiserweight, but he was coming. He was coming up, and I mean, he wasn't that much smaller than Wilder, because Wilder was like, what, 209 at times, 215. So he wasn't that significantly bigger than Usyk. I just missed that old Wilder. I missed that crazy, mad, pissed off, hard hitting Wilder that talked shit, that wanted to have babies out of his gut, which was weird. But like, I missed that dude. I missed that Wilder. That Wilder gave you something to talk about if you agreed with it or not. But most importantly, he was one of the most dangerous fighters, and I think people knew that shit. I think people knew it, but he was equally unimpressive when it came to skill set. So yeah, he could hit you and knock you into next week, but the reality of it is he lacked skill because I think he was compromised. Real question about Wilder. You think his power came from speed and torque? And now since he's lost speed, he doesn't have the power? Don't know. I don't know. I just think Wilder's going through a lot of shit right now that he's still probably, he's kind of telling people what he went through, and I think he should go on a bigger platform. No disrespect to 78 Sports TV, but I think what he needs to do, he needs to go on the Breakfast Club. He needs to go on Sway in the Morning. He needs to go somewhere that it's going to be Joe Rogan even. He needs to go somewhere where his voice, some podcast where his voice is heard to everyone. Because I think once you get that out to everyone on a big scale, they can know where you're coming from and what you're going through. And what I think Wilder's going through is the fact that if you don't know about Wilder, 2000, this was 2 years ago. Wilder's been going through this shit a long, long time. Okay, I've heard because I can share a bit with you. Wilder found out his girl was cheating on him because he became suspicious. He thought that Taylor Swift was cheating on him. So he started going through her stuff. People talk about female intuition. I get it. But then, you also have, intuition overall, regardless of gender. I'll say it like that. And he found out that she was. He went through her stuff. He found out that she was. And what he did was, he was going to marry this chick. It wasn't somebody that he wasn't with. It was somebody that he was actually with. And Wilder then found out she was lying, found out she was cheating on him. Needless to say, the person that she was cheating on him with, I believe, allegedly, is the guy she's dating now, the basketball player. Or no, he's a football player. I can't remember his name because it's not that important to me. The important thing is it messed him up. So then what he did, he went and took ayahuasca. He took that after that. So he took the ayahuasca and then he showed up at the Days of Reckoning. Now they were still together per se, but they had their issues. You know what I mean? Karma for him cheating on him with his brother's girl. Now I remember that. Wilder's from Texas. He's not from fucking Texas. He's from Alabama. He's never been from Texas. Wow, Taylor Swift really went to Fury's crib. What dumbass would try to take Wilder's woman? Do they have a death wish? I mean, the thing is though, he was gonna marry this girl. That was his fiance forever, and I always thought to myself, like, people, oh, this is my fiance. What takes you too long? What takes you so long? But he's not the only boxer that got screwed over by some chick that was doing him dirty or whatever. I mean, that happens. That happens with celebrities. Let's see what you like. Wilder can never find his range now. He's done, and he done the ayahuasca, and ayahuasca is a mind altering drug. So whatever the ayahuasca did to him, it affected everything. See, he came in the days of reckoning, like smiling, and you know, uh, I think this is what ayahuasca's for this. If you went through a dramatic episode in your life and you need something to make you, because a lot of hypnotists recommend this shit too, hypnosis and hypnotists and shit like that. I had a friend named Cliff, and Cliff had this bad breakup. So he went to, I think, Honduras. I think he went to Honduras. Somewhere in Central America. I know it was that. And he went there and he took ayahuasca. And like for 3 days, he like tripped and he tripped. He was tripping, bro. No, I don't think Joshua cares about that now. I don't think that, if it happens, it happens. But there's no way for him to get it without fighting someone that he could possibly get beat by again, Alex. But no, he came back and he was totally different. So the anger that he had for the breakup or whatever was gone. I think Wilder needed that anger. I think Wilder needed the fact that she cheated on him, needed the fact that she betrayed him. He needed to use that in order to become that vicious savage. He tried to bring it back, but it didn't work. It didn't help. It didn't help him at all. He was just more like that same dude that that was kind of weak. He became a weak dude. He just didn't have that aggression no more. That's what the shit does to you. It messes with your mind. I like Parker a lot, but he isn't the most exciting fighter, unfortunately. I mean, he doesn't have to be to get the opportunity, but he's not boring. You know what I mean? He's just, he's Parker, but Parker is Joseph needs justice. And I think people should give it to him, but I don't think that he, in this world, in this day and age, he's not going to do anything until he does something disrespectful to convince Alexander Usyk or provoke Alexander Usyk to fight him. Because if he doesn't, he's not going to get the opportunity. He's not. What he's going to do is he's going to just play the nice guy and let some other motherfucker get the opportunity, like Tyson Fury, a person that's supposed to be that, his friend. And Tyson is letting him know, I don't give a shit about you and your opportunity. If Tyson was a real one, bro, he would be talking up that fight. Think about it. Tyson, you already thought you beat Alexander Usyk twice. So why are you hell-bent on fighting him a third time? Why aren't you, I beat him twice, so I'll let Joseph Parker have it. I'll let Joseph Parker get him. I already beat him twice. I'll let my honorary brother, Joseph, get him. And let Joseph have it. Kwame Guns, you wouldn't hate if your girl cheated on you. Wow, dude. Tell you would never go to Fury's crib. That would suck if she was with AJ. Dude, that would crush him. Bro, that would crush Wilder. If Wilder saw AJ with Telly Swift, man, that would be bad. I bet. I bet you he would. I bet you he would murk all of them. Parker and Andy Lee is really good. Parker with Andy Lee is really good. I do agree. But imagine that. Imagine AJ and Telly Swift looking up. She's mine now. Yeah, man. If Foreman ever fought Lewis, we'd find out about his chin. He never fought a big man. Lyle was a big deal. Who could punch? I mean, he punched. What the fuck you talking about? He fought Ernie Shavers. He fought Ernie Shavers. Arnie Shavers was the hardest puncher known to man. He was a harder dude. They say Arnie Shavers punched hard, bro. But unfortunately, he wasn't in an era that he could be. And it's all about promotion too. It's the promoters that make these fighters that pick and choose, that are able to decide who to fight and who not to fight, who to avoid. Right? That's what they do. Who's better, Ali or Usyk? Ali is an all-time great heavyweight champion, which named himself the greatest of all time. Alexander Usyk is an all-time great because he didn't start as a heavyweight. That's simple. There's no disrespect to any of them by saying that. So who's better, Ali or Usyk? We'll never know that. Because you have to remember what Ali we're talking about. We had different facets of Ali. What are we talking about? The 38-year-old Ali? No, Usyk gets him. Usyk beats Ali at 38 for 38, right? Given they were born on the same day and all, if they were the same age, 38. Pound for pound, Usyk is an all-time great pound for pound fighter. But let's say this shit's Cassius Clay and it's 1966. And Cassius is 25 and Usyk is 25. Cassius Clay gets it because Cassius Clay, not only that he can move, he can also throw those punches. It's almost like Lomachenko fighting Floyd Mayweather almost. Or better yet, Roy Jones Jr. in his prime. It's almost like that. It's a comparison to that type of skill set. Because Alexander Usyk and fighting Cassius Clay, that young guy Clay, that brash, young, quick, slim guy that throws punches in bunches. You know. Yeah. But understand, Ali at 38 is fuck twice as many people. At 38, he fucking retired at 41. Or was it 42? One of them. 41 or 42. You know, but yeah, I mean, but Ali was always a heavyweight. So you have to keep that in mind. So when we talk about Ali and we talk about Usyk, and I know that's a trending topic because this is what happens, people. The bandwagon effect. Alexander Usyk is the result of a bandwagon effect. Once someone does something dynamic in the sport of boxing, now everyone jumps aboard. Everyone talks about how great he is, and everyone's just drunk with this mindset that Usyk is the best and he can't be beaten in all this, that, and the other. We're saying that now, and it's expected. And if you say anything contrary to that, you're a hater. That's the reality of it. If you say anything bad about Alexander Usyk right now, you're a hater, and you're not giving him his respect. That's what it means. That's what people are doing. But understand, if you're just being subjective, don't mean you're a hater. You know you're a hater inside. If you hate Usyk or you don't like the idea that Usyk did that, yeah, Usyk did that to Danny Dubois, but he did it already before. I mean, and people get mad at that. Like, what do you mean? That's what he did. You guys know he beat Danny Dubois twice, right? I mean, it is what it is. It took a while for the bandwagon effect to happen to Usyk, but I'm kind of glad it happened since he was overlooked for so long. That makes sense. Kind of. That does make sense because they did the shit to Holyfield. And if we go back with Holyfield, a lot of people didn't like Holyfield because Holyfield beat Tyson. Tyson was the man. Tyson was the man that was the youngest heavyweight champion of all time. He was the guy that just, you wanted to see Tyson. Don't blink. Don't go to the bathroom. Don't go piss. Go watch Tyson knock somebody out. You don't want to miss. Bars. So, yeah, I think, when Holyfield beat him, Holyfield was like, then Holyfield was still looked at, oh, he's still a cruiserweight. On a walk and listening to the wisdom of Kurt D. Strangeness, counterpunch to you, brother. Appreciate you. Absorb the wisdom. Let it come to you. Let your endorphins drop as you walk. Let your energy levels rise. Let your mind expand. Ali came back after 4 years of inactivity and was never the same. Well, yes and then no. And what people don't understand, 4 years is a long time. But when you say he's not the same, Ali was still able to kick some ass, and Ali was still good. He just didn't have the legs that he used to. You imagine what Ali could have done in those 4 years. You know, Holyfield used his head to beat Tyson. Well, Holyfield was known for that shit. I'm just glad he didn't headbutt Dubois or they didn't clash heads. I'm just glad that that didn't happen because, that would have been another issue. Tyson Fury would beat every single heavyweight from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Fury far more evolved than Spinks. Hell no. This is what'll happen. Oliver McCall probably would have knocked Tyson Fury's ass out. So does Ernie Shavers. Because this is what you look at with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury's good compared to certain styles. Francis Ngannou beat the Cowboy Billy shit out of him. Look, that fight should have been a draw. But if it was a draw, that means that it was means for another fight, a rematch. And they didn't want to do Tyson like that because they were on a verge of making the Usyk versus Tyson fight. So they didn't want anything to disrupt that. Francis Ngannou made his splash in the sport of boxing just by doing what he did to Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury might have or underestimated him. He might have done it, but he still got his ass whooped. You know what I mean? Because he spent most of that fight backpedaling, throwing elbows, trying to stay away from Francis Ngannou. Francis Ngannou was coming in. Francis Ngannou was throwing those bows. He was cutting off the ring. He was giving constant pressure. Tyson Fury was throwing all he could throw. That shit he was throwing at Francis, and Francis still kept coming, and it didn't bother him. And I'm thinking to myself, like, oh shit, what's going on here, right? I'm thinking, because I'm watching that, bro. I'm in the Caribbean watching this shit on my phone, and I'm watching this, and I'm thinking to myself, like, what the hell am I looking at here? What are we really looking at? What are we looking at? We're looking at something like an upset. We're looking at a freaking banana peel. And you mean to tell me that Tyson Fury's going to go back to the 60s and beat Ali and Sonny Liston and Foreman and Norton and come on, bro. Bro, no. Tyson Fury might beat somebody. He might have a war with Jerry Corey. And Jerry Corey was a good, very tough competitor. Shout out to Jerry Corey. I want to see Francis Ngannou fight again. I don't care if he's boxing or his MMA. It's been too long since he's been. Well, he's been through a lot, bro. He's been through a lot. He's lost a child. He's killed a girl at a traffic stop. Things are not looking too good for him. And I think it's selfish for you to expect him to be rushed back into the ring, knowing all that shit has happened outside the ring. Robert Ali had 61 fights, dropped 4 times. Let's see what happens, Usyk, if he has another 40 odd fights. It's a lot of fights, man. DeVille, it's surprising you attract all these casuals. What do you do? But I think casuals are an opportunity. They are potential hardcores if they know and have been educated right. So a lot of casual fans don't know enough about boxing to appreciate boxing. So that's my job. So Scats rants. It's my job. It's my job to educate. Lennox, Ali, Mike Tyson, Holyfield Bowe, Sonny Liston, Ernie Shavers, Larry Holmes, Leon Spinks, Joe Frazier, Foreman, and many others would be Usyk. You know something though? I mean, I think I look at this, Quan Big Guns. This is what I think about. That's an opinion, but is the opinion based on a factual overlook or a desire? Right? See, if you would like the idea of all those guys, oh, they'll beat him. Would you like that idea because all of those guys are black? What about Tommy Morrison? What about Jared Corey? You know, it's crazy. Like those guys, oh, well, yeah, they were around. And needless to say, they were all black, but I notice how certain people gravitate to certain things. And I listen to this shit and I read comments, just like Jose Chavez. He's not on right now. He may be on. He just ain't said shit. But he's more for Mexican fighters. He thinks all fighters that can box are runners because he doesn't like the idea of fighters avoiding shots. You know, and he's always saying some shit like, oh, well, you know, this Terrence Crawford, will he be fined if he ran? Oh, he's a runner, and saying shit like that. You're on the opposite end of the spectrum. You're like, oh, man, Usyk, he'll get beat by all these dudes. We don't know that. Because for one, they're in a different era. But I think that's an inner thing. See, here's the thing about haters. You don't know if you're a hater. People can't call you a hater. Right? You have to know inside you're one. That wouldn't affect you if you know you're not. You know, so I noticed that. I'm like, you mostly favor fighters with certain ethnic backgrounds. And it's not really good because you look at fighters where they're best and you look at the footwork. Now, if you can break down why, that would be different. But it's just like all of them will beat them. That's just like a Klansman. So all those white guys will beat those what we call them, those tar babies. Yeah, they'll beat them because they're white. Yeah, stop the bullshit, man. Kurt, 17 losses, Spinks schooled Ali in his 7th pro fight. There's no way Ali stands a chance against Fury. Well, understand. Here's the problem. Here's the problem, though. 17 losses, Spinks, in the 7th pro fight. That's a fight between Ali and Spinks, not Ali and Fury. The triangle theory bullshits, they don't matter. You have a fighter A, you have a fighter B, you have a fighter C. If fighter A beats fighter B, but then B beats C, that doesn't mean A is going to beat C. It doesn't work that way just because A beat B. So you have to remember that. That's why it's important for all matchups to happen in boxing. The only problem is it's a brutal sport and a very dangerous one. So the competitiveness, the training, the conditioning, the damage, the violence, all that comes from. You use the example with Ngannou, Kurt, keep the same energy. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're talking about, well, Usyk would beat all those guys. I saying that. Good point, though. Good point. Hold on. Let me back up. He said use the same energy with Ngannou, keep the same energy. However, Ngannou fought a lot like Foreman fought. So if they had the same style or similar style, that's how you can compare. That's like to say David Tua and Tyson fight similar. Tyson's faster. So you mean to tell me somebody with a certain style would be an effective fighter, but then a person with a similar style would have the same type of effect? You're saying like Erislandy Lara gave Canelo a hard time. Yeah, he gave him a hard time. Why? Because he's a pure boxer. What other pure boxer gave him a hard time? Every other fucking pure boxer. Every other pure boxer did. That's my point, the daddy. My point is, fighters with similar styles that Francis fought Tyson Fury, to get back to the point, they existed. Ken Norton would probably destroy Tyson Fury based on the style that Francis, the similarities that Francis has. And I think he was more durable and well more schooled. Those guys were fighting 15 rounds back then. Keep in mind, 15. Tyson Fury, bro, he's big, he's tall, but he can be caught. I've seen Tyson Fury. Why do you think Usyk had a good chance to beat Tyson. Why do you think the fights happen the way they happen? Because we've already seen Tyson in there with a smaller guy that was elusive like Usyk. And what was his name? Steve fucking Cunningham. And everybody saw, like, well, wait a minute. Steve Cunningham fighting Tyson Fury, and Tyson had to cheat. Yes, cheat. Do dirty tactics to get the punch to land, and it was an illegal shot. Nobody said shit, but it was illegal what he did. Hand, bow, he caught him. And Steve ran out of gas, but he was a smaller fighter. So there you go. You know. So, but look. Ali was really dropped 3 times. Sonny Banks, Cooper Frazier, and he got up. Webner had him off balance. Fury's been being bounced around plenty of times. Thomas, you look back in the day, Ali, they didn't look like bodybuilders. They looked like statues. You can't compare modern era with those, with them. They don't do 15 rounds no more, and they stopped it for a reason. Yeah, but also the people that fought 15 rounds still successfully fought 15 rounds. Yes, they stopped it at a point, but that didn't mean that wasn't the norm at a particular point of time. They were still in condition to do that. So you have to, if you're going to throw a modern or a known fighter right now, an active fighter into 50 years in the past to fight all these guys, he has a totally different issue to deal with. Usyk may have his match because he's now fighting someone at 15 rounds versus 12, which I don't disagree. I think Usyk could compete stamina-wise because the way he trains. See, Usyk trains like the Dickens. The motherfucker trains, what is it, 15, I think he trains 15-minute rounds or some shit like that. You know? Yeah, he trains like that. So he's conditioned to go that way. Usyk is the best that we have now. We can argue until the cows come home. Oh, was he better than Ali? Could he beat this guy? I mean, it's crazy because you have to keep in mind, Usyk has not been tested in the heavyweight division by every possible style. He has. I want to see him in there with Caballo. I want to see him in there with someone elusive like Parker, or more elusive or more mobile like Parker. I want to see him tested. Is that a crime? You guys know I got Usyk shirts out the wazoo. I am Field. I am very Field. I support Alexander Usyk. I think he's a great champion, but I want him to stay a great champion. So people, get off Usyk's dick before he becomes compromised. And that's what I believe that's happening right now. That's why I believe that Joseph Parker's not getting his opportunity, because people are not wanting that fight or not pushing that fight when they should be pushing that fight. You should be more like Jean-Claude Van Damme in the 1988 movie Bloodsport, or is it 87? Bloodsport. Keep going. Keep going. That's what you should be. You should be, keep going, Usyk. Keep going. Yeah. Right? Keep going. Show us more. Who's next? That should be the energy we have for Alexander Usyk. Who's next? Not he's done enough, because he ain't retired yet, and he showed us, I ain't retired. So guess what? I haven't retired, so I'm not finished. Since I'm not finished, I'm going to do what? Keep going. Right? So let's see the Caballo fight. Let's see the Parker fight. Really, it's Parker first because Parker's older, and the WBO is the next in line, period. So let's stop acting like we're fucking cheerleaders and get Usyk's ass back in there with the best to show that he's the best. When he beats Joseph Parker and he beats I get Caballo, I can't at that point ask for anything much more. But if you can ask for more, why not get more? He ain't retired yet. See, if he retires, fine, done. You retired. Well done. 2-time undisputed champion, 3-time undisputed champion in 2 different weight classes. Alexander Usyk never lost a fight, right? That's legacy, right? That's legacy. But if he keeps going and he's holding these belts and then, and then he's dropping the belts because he doesn't want to fight this guy and this guy, how can you give credit to somebody like that? You're just dropping belts because you're refusing to fight the next guy because it's not popular. Fuck popular. Do the right thing. Kurt, Usyk, old boxer, 39. It's more. No, boxing is evolving. Usyk, Tyson Fury would beat all the champions from the past. Nah, I don't believe that. I disagree. Matthew Ryan, Usyk isn't staying around much longer. He's not going to fight Parker and Caballo. If he retires, that's fine. If he comes back from his hiatus after his rest and he retires, that's fine. But understand something. That will not stop people from saying he got out of the sport of boxing because he did not want to fight the new people in the division. Boxing has evolved into a soft era. God of frogs. Ali was very linear mover, didn't work with the same kind of angles and shifts that Usyk did. This is Usyk doing it in his late 30s. That is impressive. For him to do it longer, and you have to look at, and I do think, though, Ali took good care of his body. I think Ali was a whore, and because he was a whore and he had sex to a lot of women, that might have had something to do with it. Because I don't think he was around drinking and getting drunk or popping smack or doing coke or smoking weed or none of that stuff. I think his kryptonite was women. His kryptonite was women, bro. It's becoming a pattern with undisputed champions. Now, funny how it's changed when they come out of nowhere. Anyone who has seen 70 and 90s boxing knows this fighters are soft, and cab drivers from the 70s would give Usyk a good fight. I think the era was different. I think it was more competitive back then. And it is not even because it's a lack of competition now. It's because the competition that we have now, the potential of making good fights or competitive fights are not the same as marketable fights. And since they're not the same as marketable fights, this is what we have. We have fighters that, hey, what would sell Wembley out? What would sell Hop Sports stadiums out? What could get the most pay-per-view sales? That's what we have today. We're not getting, hey, who could be a better fight for my fighter? They're not thinking that way. They're not thinking about challenging, competition. They're thinking about risk versus reward. That's what people are thinking about now. Watching this Queensberry card on the zone, fighters all in is fail. He can't succeed. Ali got trapped on the ropes a lot. He was broken down at an early age. His punch stats were miserable. I don't know what the shit that's about. Do you think Klitschko can come out of retirement and beat any of the current heavyweights? Yeah. I do. I do. Turkey wasted so much money on the big fights that simply didn't sell good. Can we blame him as much when he's talking a huge loss for a vet? Well, here's the thing. I wasn't aware that Turkey Al-Sheikh was in this game to make money. I thought he was in this game to take over the sport, and therefore he would make money on whatever money and profit he turned over. The objective would be complete. The objective would be that the Saudi Arabians in the last 10 years, they wanted to take over boxing. And I thought that was their whole goal. If you're already wealthy, what fucking point would it be to make a profit if you're wealthy? If you're wealthy, your money makes money, and that money makes money. Okay? When you're trying to do business-like stuff, because if that's the case, I'm fooled. And we should all feel fooled. Because Turkey Al-Sheikh, to me, was a guy that came off, wanted to see the best fights. Well, maybe he wanted to see the fights he wanted to see based on the buzz that they would get, the attention that they would absorb. Maybe that's the case. I don't think that's their goal, but I see what you're saying. But I hope it's not. But I hope it's to see the best fights. Because if Turkey doesn't like Usyk, I think would make more sense for these guys to, don't give up on the current fighters. Why would you give up on the idea of Parker beating Usyk? See, this is what happens in boxing, and I want people to pay attention. Please, if Usyk fights Parker and Parker beats Usyk, then what everybody gonna fucking say? What people gonna say then? What people are gonna say if Joseph Parker upsets Usyk? Because it will be an upset. Well, first thing you should say is, now we know why Daniel Dubois got out of that goddamn fight. You know what I'm saying? But then, you're gonna see a lot of this stuff. Quan Big Guns, a soft era, dude. This is an era of the biggest and heaviest heavyweights in history. You talk nonsense. Well, bigger doesn't necessarily mean better, though. To be fair, right? Because we saw Ike Ibeabuchi chop Arslanbek Marketability's bare wrestling ass down. He chopped his ass down. Chop, chop, chop. Oh. You seen that big ass, bear hugging ass dude get chopped down by a dude that's 6'2". So bigger don't necessarily mean tougher. Okay. So in defense of Quan Big Guns, that don't necessarily mean you're tougher. All right. And then to keep it a buck, Arslanbek Marketability ain't really been the same since then. He ain't been the same since. I mean, he's still okay, but he ain't been the same since. C&K Knudsen. Parker is a power puncher now with the weight gain. Yeah, but how long can he carry that shit around? Will he be able? See, I think Usyk gives him trouble based on the weight that he's gained. See, I think that Daniel Dubois being heavy is different from Joseph being heavy. See, Joseph ain't naturally that big unless he's just getting that big. But here's the thing, when you're that big, then you're that big. Because I do believe with Maoris and Kiwis and things like that, when they start fucking gaining weight, there's a problem, bro. There is a big problem. It could be huge. It could be an issue. It could be something that dictates their performance. I think about David Tua. I'm looking at Joseph Parker like, oh shit, you're gaining too much weight, Joseph. Be careful, because if you're gaining too much weight, you're not going to be able to move and deal with all those pivots and those angles and those dashes and those dips and zips and bobs and weaves that Usyk has, and he will proceed to kick your ass. And if you get tired, that's your ass, because he's going to come at you and he's going to sense it. Once you start getting tired, Usyk's going to know you're getting tired. And that 20 extra pounds that Parker parades around at, it may be his downfall. He should be 230 pounds. I do agree. He should be 268 pounds. Bro, he's 270. Come on, bro. Stop. Now, with Mark McCauley, I get it, but it paid out. But who's to say he couldn't do that at 230? Who's to say he couldn't land that same shot at 230 pounds? Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. We'll never know. Right? So it is what it is. Parker will never beat Parker. Exactly why Mr. Turkey isn't interested. Okay, I know what you meant. He knows what would happen. Turkey wants Usyk to fight someone who he thinks can dethrone him. What about Ike Ibeabuchi? I mean, don't give up. Like if Turkey thinks that, and if that's his mindset, I don't know I haven't talked to Turkey, but if Turkey's mindset is, I'm finished and I've given up on the idea that anybody can beat Usyk, therefore the heavyweight division will go dark again. Why? Because then there will be no push and nobody will be there to push the idea of potential challenges. So if you feel there's no challenge, you're going to give up on the challengers. So the challengers that still want to fight, it's almost like closing the door on opportunity. Oh, there's no more talent out there. Let's close shop. Let's close it all down. Let's lock up and leave. That's what I'm getting the impression, and I hope I'm wrong. Usyk make everyone tired by feigning and keeps you on your toes the whole fight. Yeah. Parker looks good. He never had that power at 246. Look at the Wilder fight. Okay. Moses Atoma will be the biggest thing in boxing history. It's interesting. Andrew 23. Salute Kurt. Remember, Dillian White was #1 in the WBO when Usyk moved up to heavyweight. Krasick said they wanted to fight Chisora instead of White. How do you think Usyk versus White would have gone in 2020? Was he the WBO? Because I could have sworn he was the. Was he the WBO? I know he was the #1 forever in the WBC. He got knocked out by Povetkin. But maybe that was Krasick not really confident in Usyk at the time because Usyk just made it to heavyweight, so they didn't want to fight no one like Dillian White. Because honestly, Dillian White was the replacement of Derek Chisora. Remember that? He was supposed to be the new Derek Chisora. That was Dillian White, so people should understand that. Dillian White was supposed to be the replacement of Derek Chisora in the heavyweight division. So Parker would upset the apple cart again. That's why they won't back him. They don't know what to do with Parker, so they just ignore him. Usyk idiot because not wanting to retire. I mean, not everyone's Floyd Mayweather, bro. Not everyone's like that. Not everyone wants to just retire on top. Because Floyd did it for more reasons than you think he did. Floyd was against the system. He didn't want to fight the guys that would cause him the most pain. That's a whole different topic. I'm not even going to go into Floyd right now. Usyk would have knocked trash can the F out. Do you think Clarissa has the Floyd Mayweather syndrome, a narcissist? No. She's hungrier than Floyd. She's kind of a combination of money and a combination of pretty boy. Because she wants to fight the most and the best people, but she's obnoxious. You know what I mean? It's almost like Clarissa talks is like, if this was 1950, if this was 1950 or 60, and you were dating someone like Clarissa, you'd have to knock her out. Because I mean, you'd have to pull a Sean Connery. You guys know about Sean Connery, right? Oh, I give him a little smack every now and then. Yeah, you'd have to do that shit because she wouldn't shut up. I'm a big one. I didn't go doing it. I didn't know what you know. Shut up. Kurt, do you think it's impossible for Fury to beat Ali? Or is it just your prediction that Ali can beat Fury? I don't know. I mean, because Tyson Fury is a big dude that can also move. So it'd be a good fight. I mean, especially what Ali are we talking about? Because you had two different time frames. You'd probably beat that Ali in the mid-70s. Mm-hmm. Prime for prime. I mean, Tyson, shit. I mean, what did Tyson really do in his prime? When was his prime? I think he squandered. I think Tyson Fury squandered his prime. I think he squandered it. I think he did coke and he was wild. He did a lot of jacked up stuff. So. I think Tommy Morrison would KO Fury. Tommy Morrison, man, had a lethal left hook, bro. Tommy gun. Tyson Fury's prime was Wilder 3. Was it? Okay. Prime Mike Tyson versus Ali. Scary fight, man. Scary fight. Um, Fury needs to fix his jab. Flicky bullshit isn't doing any damage. Basically, a feint at this point. I wish he could punch. No, he can punch. Ask Usyk, ask Wilder now. I mean, Wilder would probably still lie to you and say it was loaded gloves or some shit. But ask Usyk, 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 Usyk. Not fair to compare errors. You can only beat your current competition, not shadows of past times. I mean, that's true. Tommy Morrison got smashed out by Michael Bent. He was a fifth-rate fighter. Tommy Morrison, McCall, Tua, Ibeabuchi, McCall, Bo have all destroyed Fury easy. If Fury can't take Usyk's left hook, imagine what Tommy left gun would do. It'd be a good fight, man. I mean, that just tough guys from that era. It's kind of hard to, compare. We could just talk about what they've done or what we've seen them do in the ring. Marlon throwing that wide, that's just 3 more rounds. I mean, that's 9 minutes, bro. Try to fight somebody for 9 minutes. Tell you what, go 3 rounds and then go 12. That's, bro, that shit seems, it's only 3 more. Yeah. Shit. How about 1 more after you're already tired? Let alone 3 more. It's 3 where you get the 12th round and it's the 13th. Like, fuck. I think a prime Ali stops Tyson and, let me see what this is. Stops Tyson. Tony Tucker fought a prime Tyson and caught him with a jab, uppercuts, etc. You're right. White was. Prime Holyfield would run Usyk ragged. He would crowd Usyk. Holyfield versus Usyk would be important and would be interesting because Holyfield would crowd him. You know what I mean? And you see, the thing is, it would be a lot of counters. But here's the thing. We've seen how Usyk deals with people that tried to crowd him. See, that's what Daniel tried to do. Daniel tried to fight Usyk like he tried with AJ, so now we all know. And he got his ass countered. Bah! Oh, that hurt. I bet it did, lad. Actually, number 1 WC. Yeah. I mean, I figured that, but no, because I didn't know his other rankings and other sanctioning bodies. I just know he was a WBC. So that's Dillian White. That uppercut Usyk took off of Fury was the same shot that dropped White. Yeah, that was a good shot. Very good shot. And he called Usyk, and Usyk, oh shit, I had to come back, and he told us he was hurt. So you can't say Tyson Fury doesn't have power. I think that's bullshit. Dude's damn near shit. He's 260 pounds, 70 pounds at times. So to say he has power, I think is just totally ridiculous. Okay. Parker's a problem to all heavyweights currently expect. May a couple he hasn't faced yet. Well, I do think that people are overlooking Parker. And I think if you're not going to give everybody the equal opportunity, don't give the opportunity at all. That's what I'm going to say. It's justice for Joseph Parker over here. That's how I'm going to stay. Bars. So you guys stay tuned. I may go live tomorrow for a Sunday night live or a Sunday evening live. So stay tuned for that. God bless you guys. Enjoy your Saturday. I'm signing off. And everyone has been counterpunched. Peace!